Being sustainable, I think it's just a recent topic in the industry. I mean, it's still hard to find people really interested in that instead of just participating at the panel or just looking at the news. I think the more we go on with that, the less we have to talk about it. You know, we have to start doing things instead of talking about that. Once we did the last tour of Elisa, which is a huge, a big name here, which was like also part of the project was also to give some advice to local promoters to make it happen. 50% answered the questionnaire that we sent them, and only 25% really followed the workshop that we were giving to them. And also, I think technology providers, let me say services, they still don't have solution sometimes, you know? So the point is that sustainability, in my experience, is not a question of cost in terms of money. For sure, it's a cost in terms of putting your attention, you know, trying to change the way in which you used to work, which is quite simple because you already know everything. If this is complicated to organize a concert, but you already have the way in which it works, and try to innovate in that sense. That takes time. What happens is that people that have no idea of really making something sustainable, but want to try to make this happening, they start from slogan. They start from saying it. You know, company are bored now about putting this sustainability all the time, but looking at brief that they give around for agency, looking at what also the state is financing or the Europe is financing, it's not possible to go back now. So they have to insist. They have to work on this solution, and they for sure they need to talk less about that, even because it doesn't make any difference now to say I'm doing something sustainable. It's not the news in terms of marketing, doesn't work that much, but in terms of experience that you create, in terms of also partner that you can put around the table, it's important because you can build a stronger relation with people that are on the same page, you know? For me, it's much more relevant because it needs a complete renewal of the industry. So this makes a lot of money possible in the future, a lot of new job, new positions, you know? It's a really big change. It's not because I'm doing a sustainable event that is a good thing, but doing in a greener industry is a good thing. That's for sure. I mean, what we experienced during pandemic is that of course the live industry is not resilient at all. As no other ideas behind bringing a huge stage in arenas and making as much money as they can. We tried with live stream, not only us in Italy, but everywhere, and which from another point of view is a great business model for artists because they can keep money directly from their audience. People didn't like it. And what's now going on is I always think if we are not bored about this huge production where you can see a lot of LED screens, a lot of lighting, but the artist is that small on your, 100 meters far from you, and you have to look at him or her on the screens. This is a form of experience which I'm not considering as you said progressive. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm not considering it at a human sides, experience. Is not good for music lovers, which are the people that really brings the industry in new adventures. It's only for fans. It's only for people that want to say, okay, I've been there. It's not for people that really want to enjoy the experience. Otherwise, I don't understand what do they enjoy. Even if the best big concert in an arena like that, for my personal opinion, is not so funny, but people love it. So the point is that we are going to have like a huge entertainment industry that brings all the effort in making numbers. And we know that industry has a huge responsibility because they have the money. I'm thinking about big companies. I'm thinking about Even Team, Live Nation, this huge company. If they don't consider to be part of an ecosystem where we also need to have emerging artists to grow, music lovers that go to proper concert, diversity in terms of programming, etc., they're going also to die in a while because the only thing they can sell is plastic. So the dialogue between the big player and the medium and small player is the thing to do. Coming back to your question, only if you find this kind of balance inside the music industry, this kind of dialogue, then things can evolve in a direction that can be much more resilient and much more strong in the end. I think nothing is possible to do fully green, probably, but I think it's time to understand, for example, if the development of such big festival as it was like the receipt in the last 15 years, everybody was really trying to do the next Primavera Sound, the next Ziget, the next Glastonbury. So everybody was looking for big structure, big numbers, because that's the only way to get a sustainability in terms of from an economic point of view. But this also made a lot of changes with the super cachet of big artists and super interest in mega multi-corporation in buying all those festivals because they are just a way to make some money. On the other side, it's much more easy to think about having, instead of a one big festival, 10 medium-sized festival. Those are more sustainable for sure in terms of green. It's true that only the big sides of a festival can really give the opportunity to have structures working. So it's a huge challenge to see how to change the two things, but maybe also big festival can do a lot to reduce their impact. But to be honest, I mean, when you move 100,000 people a day in one venue, is practically impossible to have zero impact. Or I mean, it's going green is quite it's a lot of work, and I don't think that big promoters or producers can really do a green event before everything changes, like the structures, but even the fuel of the flights, airplane flights. Before that, you can call an event sustainable. It's time for sure to discuss about it. It's time for sure to find solutions. Some solutions are on the go. Let's think about how to power up a festival with hydrogenum or with renewables. And that's has a huge impact, and that's possible to do actually. So it's time to work on it. If you think about a stage systems, it's the same kind of stage that we are going to use since ages now. If you think about audio system, it's the same kind of audio system that we are using since ages now. Thinking about immersive sound studios, sound systems all over the venue, thinking about wood structures, thinking about a different way to build those things. Electric van are coming, are already there. They are quite expensive, but they are already there. Mobility for big production is also something it's a hard work that, we already found, for example, companies that are going green with their mobility system. So maybe industry needs to interact with them, start to talking in that way. Another big thing is how to mix properly what's local with what's international. Don't force too much this idea of having global audience to come to your party or to your festival. Otherwise, think about bringing your party and your festival in the world, or I love this idea of doing, those boutique festivals which are related with a city, a village, or a beach, or a castle, which are more sizable, where you can hear the music properly, when you can stay close. Of course, those festivals cannot afford the cost of big artists, but maybe we don't need only big artists. We need more diversity of artists that can, share the word. Of course, I know exactly that boutique festival, for example, are really hard to manage in terms of economics. Otherwise, we experience that if you think in a more green way, you can save actually money instead of spending more than that. That's the real deal. We know that it's at a certain point, it's time to change the way in which we produce events. And we need to find solution technologies to make this in a greener way. Going green is not a cost. If you find the right solution, is not a cost. Is the contrary in my experience.
Okay.
When we did really a greener event for United Nations, where we were really free to elaborate the concept since the beginning, we spent almost 70% of cost less, comparing to another, let me say, regular format. So it's not a question of the cost. The cost of festival are rising, and the music are rising, because I think it's more and more important for all of us to be professional. And so if you put all the professional cost on the table, that makes a higher cost for the whole thing. On third, I don't know, but I've seen all the time my daughter, she's 10, and she's much more interested in doing having less impact in what she does, that I don't think we can go back, So from maybe not now, but in a couple of years, maybe a festival that has no attention to this kind of dynamics for the audience that we have is not going to be attended anymore, or is going to be attended from those people that don't share exactly the same value as normally the organizer have. But the point about going green is studying a lot the solutions. It's not just spending 10 minutes to understand a few things and few policies to do. It's really a lot of work. We need a sustainability manager in organization. We need people that are really focusing on that, bringing on the table of the meetings solutions and giving advice, maybe not in terms of cost, but in terms of value that they want to leave. We cannot look at the live industry as only as a question of numbers. So we need to think that those numbers can increase, for example, and to get more and more of those people spending money on music and giving us the opportunity to become much more professional. We need to give something back.
Okay.
So what to give back? It's the way in which we produce show, but it's more like the way in which we conceive ourselves as part of an ecosystem. So if you are Live Nation, you can go on with that. You can do your own job, making your numbers and profits. Okay, so I also need to help grassroots clubs, because otherwise I'm not going to have any emerging artists to work with in the future. And helping doesn't mean putting money on the table, but also represent the interest of the largest industry, instead of just thinking at your own things like they normally do. This is relevant. The importance of networking is more an institutional thing to do, It's more like feeling of being the same family.
Okay. Yeah.
And for sure, we're going to be helped by other industry in doing what we do better. But at the same time, once again, the size matters in terms of impact that you have, not only for the green part of it, but if you are a big festival, for example, like Primavera Sound, you have 155 million in income from ticketing. What do you do to give something back to society, to the world, because you are so lucky to make so much money? We cannot ask this only to Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. It's the industry itself that has to take care of something for the social purposes. Otherwise, the music is not linked anymore with the reason why everybody loves it and everybody's in it when they begin. We don't have to forget that music is not only for making money. So it's more like ESG, those three main things around the concept of sustainable development, which is how the industry can relate with the green goals, as well as the music can relate with the social impact goals, which means diversity, inclusion, and also with governances goals, which means key change, for example.
Okay.
Or in general, the idea of building network is also part of the sustainable goals for United Nations. So it's part of that thing. We actually built a protocol for sustainable events, which is quite interesting because it puts on table three options for each of the production line that you have, like, okay, the stage, the marketing team, everything related with the event, every single task, that you have to do, a sort of to-do list of what you have to do an event. And so we have three different options where you can be compliant with the law, so simply applying the law, or where you can be generative, so giving solutions that are really crazy, visionary, or you are in the middle between of them. So we were asking for each of these questions, each of these tasks, where they consider themselves are with that production. Okay, so for example, you have to establish a food service if you are doing legally, or if you are doing like generative, like goes for vegan food, or you are in the middle because you have different choices of food for the people, for example. So if you consider this for each of the tasks of a festival, once you flag where are you, then I can understand exactly where are you, of course, but then you take a look on the other solution and you learn a bit, and you learn that there are different solutions that can suggest you to go in that direction, maybe not this time, maybe next time. So our protocol is at the same time a system for a self-evaluation, but also it's a system, you can also consider it as a system for projecting, because you can see other solutions that may be best practices, of course, best practices from abroad, and we say, okay, why you don't do like this, for example? And that's the best way for them, because they need to be, I know that the philosophy behind people who work in the live industry, they want to be like the first, the better, the most advanced, and the most I don't know, it's part of our way of being. They asked us to do completely free of any kind of condition, and we discover it is clear, but we were able to do that. It's a question of balancing timing schedule, for example, leaving music on daytime, instead of just waiting for nighttime to enjoy ourselves. This brings a lot of reduction in terms of cost of production, lighting, and whatever. But it also to start using spaces and places where the infrastructure is already there. For example, like stable stages, electricity in the right place, with the right plugs and whatever. It's very technical thing for producers, but you can save a lot of money, and you can save a bit of your emissions if the space itself give the opportunity, for example, to have a nice space. It's a nice view without building huge structure. Like we have in Milan, we have a stage, for example, in a big park, which is an established one. So you go there, you don't have to build any stage, for example. And that's a lot of less effort. If you want a nice, how to say, setup, you can use flowers or wood instead of plastics and fabrics or iron or this kind of stuff. And the result was amazing. We were lucky with the sun, with the timing, of course, but the experience for the people was, I think, was amazing. Also because we were still in the pandemic, so it was really rare to find a concert, an open air concert. But I think that's exactly what most of the people wants from music, is to stay as much close as they can with their friends, meet other people around, and listen to nice music. We are considering the wow effect behind all the entertainment now like something that we must do, but I'm not sure that people really are looking for that much more than just keeping their time staying in a beach dancing and drinking and listening to music.